What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Realistic Rumour with Wrexham. This is episode number 66, and as you can see there, Jacob Mendy saying he is fit and good to come in for Luke Chambers, who was one of two first-team starters that were injured in the last episode. It was a hit-and-miss episode. We won 3 of our 4 games in episode 65, but Rocco Vata and Luke Chambers both suffered 3-month injuries. I think Chambers is going to miss the rest of the season. Vata might be able to make it for the last game, but Vata in particular, who has, I think, been our player of the season so far, for him to get an injury was huge. And then Luke Chambers, we can fill in at left back with Mendy or even with Josh Earl. But yeah, to lose Vata was a tough one, man. But we've actually gone quite a long time without an injury, so it felt overdue. And considering we have the injury stats boosted as well, I felt like it was a long time coming. Well, in today's episode 66, you'll see us take on Charlton Derby, Watford in our FA Cup quarter-final, and then finally Sunderland in what will be a big game in the race for the playoffs. We're currently third in the league right now after those 3 wins in the last episode, 32 games in, so 14 to go. The countdown is on. We're on 58 points right now, just 6 defeats in those 32 games. A very good defensive performance this season, partly from Sam Johnston coming in. He's been an absolute rocking goal, but the defence has been great as well. And in our first game of today's episode, we're facing a team whose defence have been shocking, Charlton, who had the leakiest defence in the league. We won 4-0 at the Valley earlier in the season, so we're looking to make it a back-to-back victories over Charlton and complete the league double. As you can see in the top left there, they have the worst away record in the league. And as you can also see in the top left, this was my 200th game in charge, 200 games with the boys. Well, half an hour in, after Charlton actually had a decent chance one-on-one, which they blazed over, Will Smallbone would smash home his 5th goal of the season. So he's picking up some goals from deeper midfield. Great finish this. First touch, he's kind of on the stretch, but he bangs it top corner. Alfie Devine with his 7th assist of the season. And then 34 minutes on the clock. It's pulled back to Paul Mullen, whose shot is well saved, but we are well on top here as we look to make it 2-0. Smallbone with a shot that's blocked. I think that's his 3rd shot of the game already. He was feeling himself today, was Will. And then he finds Devine in the middle. Devine back to Smallbone. Love this finish. I feel like you don't see a lot of shots along the floor. So when you get a nice goal that's just placed along the floor, or you're one-on-one with the keeper and you just slide it past him along the ground, it's quite satisfying. And this was a nice goal here. Smallbone and Devine linking up again. 6 for Smallbone now, who I think actually scored in the reverse fixture against Charlton as well. So that's 3 goals this season against the Latics, not the Latics, that's Wigan, sorry, against Charlton. Devine with his 8th assist of the season. Going into the second half, Alex Lowry would be denied assist of the season. The trivela across the pitch was beautiful, but Bennett's shot goes just over. And then we made a whole host of changes as we entered towards the latter stages of the second half. I felt like even though we were only 2-0 up, the game was done and dusted. And with games coming thick and fast, I needed to give our players as much rest as possible. Corley Woodrow, one of those substitutes, would see one of his shots fly just wide, and that would be all she wrote. A 2-0 victory against Charlton, back-to-back victories against Charlton this season, 4 wins from our last 5, and another clean sheet for Sam Johnston, although that was our first in 9 games, so nice that we've shored up the defence a little bit after recent form. I'll be honest, Charlton are very, very poor. They were massively just so easy to play against in both games. I'll be amazed if they stay up this season as we complete the double over them, 6-0 on aggregate. So their win keeps us 3rd, 3 points behind Leicester in the race for the 2nd place. Mendy says to us, "Look, boss, I'm happy that you played us, that you played me ahead of obviously with Chambers' injury." And Mendy, he's been here since the start. I love Mendy, even though he's only 67 rated. I just feel like he offers a lot attacking wise. Although saying that, since we've been in the Championship, I think his quality has shown, and potentially this could be his last season with us. If I probably won't put him up for transfer, but if a bid comes in from him, I probably will accept it, especially if we do go up to the Premier League. Well, moving on to the second game of the episode, it would be a snowy racecourse ground as the winter comes in, and well, I'll get into Derby's league position in a minute, but what on earth was Sam Johnston doing here? I feel like there's been an issue with the game recently where I hold Y for my keeper to come out and press the player with the ball. he doesn't go towards the ball, and he just goes straight forward. And as you can see there, he just presented an open goal to Forner. Not sure what the hell he was doing. Just after half an hour, though, I mean, not much he could have done about this one. Lavery with the lob, and Derby would lead 2-0, and then Forner with the third before half time. And this was an even bigger shock because the Rams are dead last with 20 points after 33 games. Just absolutely awful this season. They've only scored 24 goals this season as well. Shocking, which of course is the worst in the league. So for us to have gone 3-0 down at half time is just awful. The Rams, to be fair to them, after that goal, that gift of a goal from Sam Johnston, they grew in confidence, and it was just one of those where sometimes when you play the lower down teams, they're actually harder to beat, and Derby were just finishing like their Leeds, who are 15 points clear at the top right now. Half time, stern words were said. No substitute, because I believe this team is the team to bring us back. We've come back from many deficits in the past, and I believe that if we could get an early goal, we might be able to do it. We did get an early goal. Alfie Devine heading in from Regier's cross, another assist for Yuri. And then with 25 minutes to go on the clock, Jewis and Bennett would make it 3-2. Alfie Devine shot hitting the post, but Bennett was the man on point to get to the ball and put it in the back of the net. But Derby killed the end of the game really well. I didn't even get a sniff to be given a chance of a leveler, and it's a shock defeat, a really humbling one, but one, you can't afford to be losing these games. Like the tough games are going to come already, but when you're playing Derby at home, who are bottom, who have only 24 league goals in 33 games, they only have 20 points, you got to be putting these teams away if you want to get promoted. And we know that obviously Leeds are running away with it now. Leicester are looking very strong. We got very lucky actually that Leicester drew their game, so the gap is only stretched to 4 points. Whereas down the bottom, big 3 points for Derby. They're now only 6 off safety. If they can churn out performances like that, they will survive. But it's just about consistency, right? As Josh Earl comes to us and says, like, he's glad that he's been put back into the team. He wants some more minutes. I am experimenting with Josh Earl at left back. He has played there a couple times before, and I'm not against it, to be honest. I think Josh Earl could do a job at left back to fill in for the rest of the season. As we look at the FA Cup quarter-final games, Everton have already booked their place in the semi-final, beating Sheffield United. Sorry, this isn't the quarterfinals. This is the round of 16. This is to get into the quarterfinals. So Everton are in the quarterfinals. This is a huge chance for us to reach the quarterfinals of the FA Cup, which I know that we've had a real fairy tale FA Cup experience this season, beating Crystal Palace away, beating Liverpool away at Anfield. 2 Premier League scalps away from home is incredible. And we've got a chance playing a fellow championship side at home. But for me, the league is the priority, and the league will always be the priority unless I can afford it. And especially with our injuries and our lack of depth in this squad, I had to rotate, even though it kind of meant potentially sacrificing this game. It was still a strong team, don't get me wrong. As you can see here, Watford have put 2 past us in 12 minutes. I'm not going to sit here and say, I put out kids or depth players and, it was an unfair advantage. There were still some strong players in this team, and I always expect my teams to give a good account of themselves. But for me, considering we had Sunderland 4 days later, which is a massive game in the race for the playoffs, I had to make the rotations that I could and prioritise that game. And 17 minutes in, the Hornets, they've stung multiple times. Herrera, I think, getting 2 of the 3 goals. The annoying thing is 2 of the goals came from me being dispossessed. The first one, Josh Earl had the ball, didn't clear it, and then got dispossessed. And then that one there, I think it was James Milner that got dispossessed. And then Watford would go 3-0 up. And for the second game running, we would go 3-0 down at half-time at home. Just not good enough at all. At half-time, I kind of accepted defeat in this one and wanted to rest some of my starters that would start against Sunderland on the weekend. So I brought on 3 youth academy graduates, including Zachary Woods making his debut. I took off 3 players, like I said, that I would hope to start against Sunderland on the weekend. Late into the game, after Coley Woodrow hit the post, Schmid would make it 4-0 to the visitors, and they would emphatically book their place in the FA Cup quarter-final. Not many away fans there in the away end, but the ones that are there are buzzing. they've seen their team batter us, and they are in the FA Cup quarterfinals, and our FA Cup dream ends here. Look, as I said, I have prioritised Sunderland, and if we go out and beat Sunderland, I think it will be justified. So I know the fans might be disappointed that we haven't got to the quarterfinals, but let's look at the bigger picture. And by the end of the season, potentially, if we're a Premier League side, they will forget this FA Cup game. Well, as we do, we always see who we would have played in the quarterfinals, and what a beautiful tie it would have been if you're a fan of the channel. If you've been a fan of the channel for a couple of years now, you would have watched our realistic career mode of Nottingham Forest on FC23, and that's who we would have faced. We would have faced Nottingham Forest at the City Ground. Forest, who are in the Champions League this season, I think. They've really thrown it back and got into Europe this year. That would have been a fantastic game to go there and face my former realistic career mode side with my current realistic career mode side. But it wasn't to be, and now we focus on the league as we head into the fourth and final game of the episode, and it is Sunderland at the Stadium of Light, 1 place and 2 points behind us in fourth. This is a mega game. We lost 2-1 to them at home back in August, as we look to right some wrongs here. Mavenda, the Sunderland top scorer, he's the league top scorer as well. Mullin is chasing him for that golden boot, and Jewison Bennett, of course, facing his former side. Well, the hosts would take an early lead just 9 minutes in, and our defensive vulnerabilities are shown again as the captain Embleton just drives through the defence, cuts through it like a knife through butter, a hot knife through butter, should I say. And the home fans are sent into delirium as they see their side take an early lead in this one. Sunderland unbeaten in their last 5 games, winning 3 of them as well, so they are hot in form right now. But the beautiful play here, Mullin with the back heel into Alfie Devine. Probably should have done better there, Alfie, but he'll take the corner. We are dangerous from these corners. Headed out though. 14 minutes on the clock. We look to respond here. Jacob Greaves find Alfie Devine, who is onside. Devine with the cross into Alex Lowry, and it's in. Come on. 1-0, 15 minutes in, and those away fans are going crazy. Alex Lowry with the header. It was a weird header. The keeper kind of was shifting to his left, and he couldn't shift his weight back to the right. Even though he desperately tried to claw it out, he couldn't. And Alex Lowry with the header. Alfie Devine with his 3rd assist of the game. And we are tied at 1 apiece. And then Will Smallbone with a fantastic chance. It was a bit of luck how the ball fell to him, but he probably should have done better. You know, he's in a bit of goal-scoring form, is Will Smallbone right now. But that was a decent opportunity. But we've responded well here. Sunderland, they flex their muscles early doors, show that they are the team in form. But after we steadied the ship a little bit, and now going into the second half, we're actually on top here. And Regier linking up with Lowry nicely, and then almost the perfect ball into Mullin. But it's fantastic defending to deny PM10 the ball. And then with 10 minutes to go on the clock, Will Smallbone out wide to Jewison Bennett. Jewison, what can you do here? Drive to the box, drive inside. Jewison, can he cut it back? He can. Alfie Devine! Oh, this man has been clutch for us. We started him in August. We put him in the CDM role alongside Koulibaly, and I just felt like he wasn't being utilised enough. Since we pushed him up to Cam after a few games, he has not looked back. And Alfie Devine, once again, grabs his 12th goal of the season. Jewison Bennett, fantastic from him, gets to the byline, sets up the goal against his former side, and we lead 2-1 in this huge game as Koulibaly takes a yellow card, taking one for the team there. I mean, just stopping any sort of attack as we make a substitution. Lowry off for Elliot Cox, who will hopefully just provide width down the wing as we look to clear the ball out. It's going to be backs against the wall for these last couple of minutes. Cross comes in. Here's Ekwa taking on Cox, who's just been subbed on. Ball into the middle. Can Sunderland break our hearts here as they look for the equaliser? Shot from the edge of the box. Kwanzaa with a block. Big block from Jarrell there. And then we're into injury time now as Elliot Cox is absolutely taken out. Regier to Kwanzaa. Surely the ref's going to blow full time. He has. There it is. What a big 3 points to end this episode. It was a real humbling episode, losing to bottom side Derby, getting smashed out of the cup by Watford. But I feel like this was a good ending point. We said, with Watford, we kind of gave up the game a little bit, especially at halftime when we were 3-0 down, to focus on this huge game. So to come to the Stadium of Light and collect 3 points is massive against a side that hadn't lost in quite a few games as well. So a big 3 points on the board, and that's our 18th win of the season, which matches last season's record with 11 games remaining as well to beat that record. We're still 4 points behind Leicester, who keep chugging along, but we've now opened a 5-point gap up to Sunderland. That was huge, and what a way to round off the episode. Well, that will be it for today's episode 66. I hope you're enjoying the series, guys. If you are, drop a like on the video. Sub to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you in episode 67 very soon.